All right, the final chapter in this unit is chapter 35. We're going to talk about classical opera and particularly looking at one of Mozart's most famous operas, Don Giovanni. Uh, Classical opera was divided into two categories. You had opera seria, which was serious opera, so very formal genre, a little more rigid in its conventions, very styled like the Baroque tradition. The audience would have been a little more sophisticated and aristocratic. So the main, I think, attraction for these operas were the virtuosity of those star singers. They were not very interested in the stories. The stories were from classic antiquity, so stories they would know, kings and heroes. However, they loved to hear the solo singers. So that was opera seria's very quick definition. And then along came comic opera, which was lighter. It was simpler. It had a little more realistic human emotion. This is the theater in Vienna where some of Mozart's operas were performed. And comic opera flourished in Europe. Each country had kind of had their own version. Opera buffa was in Italy. France, they called it opera comique. Germany, Singspiel, and England, ballad opera. Each of those were individualized to the country, but the same idea was that it was a little bit lighter, a little bit more interesting to the storyline, and very much more appealing to the rising merchant class rather than just the aristocratic society. It was sung in the vernacular, which means that the music of the language of the people that would be able to be understood. So this was much more down to earth, especially the opera buffa, very popular throughout Europe, and very humorous dialogues and popular tunes, and very lively, very entertaining. Typically, Mozart liked to close each act with the ensemble singing. So they would have multiple singers kind of giving their take on the plot line all at the same time. And that was very much a distinctive style of Mozart. We're going to be listening to two different songs from Don Giovanni. You're going to hear some elements within Don Giovanni of opera buffa and opera seria. It was a bit of a hybrid. The librettist was Lorenzo da Ponte, who wrote the words, that's what the libretto is, and it's basically a story of Don Juan, or the male amoral womanizer, who's an aristocrat. All right. So the main characters are Don Giovanni, his servant Leporello, which is a comic character, Donna Anna, which is a noble woman who he tries to seduce, the Commendatore, which is Donna Anna's father, who he ends up killing in the beginning. And there is Don Ottavio, which is Don Anna's fiance, Don Elvira, another one of his conquests, Serlina, which is a peasant girl, and her fiance, Mazzetto. Those are the main characters. The summary is that basically Don Giovanni tries to seduce Donna Anna, then he kills her father in a duel. Don Ottavio, which is her fiance, swears to avenge his death to her because Don Giovanni escapes. Leporello invites this graveyard statue of the Commendatore to dinner. Now that's a little strange. And the statue comes to life and kills Don Giovanni. Now talk about a twist ending. That's a very interesting plot summary, but a lot of other things go on in between the lines. Okay, then you'll hear the catalog aria Madamina, Il catalogo è questo, which is sung by Leporello. He's basically saying, lady, this is his list of conquests. You aren't anything special. There are tons of other names in this book as well. And then I highly suggest you listening to that. And then Act 1, Scene 9, La ci darem la mano, which is a duet between Don Giovanni and Serlina. He's trying to seduce Serlina on her wedding day before she gets married. And so you'll hear different phrases exchanged between the singers and they close in a duet. So I want you to take a listen to the pieces and follow along with the translations in these listening guides. Thank you.